The Portland Trailblazers return home. LaMichael James is in the Hall of Fame. The Pac-12 schedule is out, and I am emotionally distressed over a dating situation involving two heroes from my fandom. Just stressful. Anyway, I'm Aaron Fentress. Welcome to the Sports by Northwest podcast. I am joined by Brenna Greene, sports anchor and reporter extraordinaire for KOIN 6. Brenna, how has your week gone? How are you doing?
It's been good. It's been good.
It's been good.
We're going to talk about something I did today a little bit later on in the podcast. But yeah, I got to kind of meet one of my I wouldn't call it childhood quite, but close enough.
Young adult heroes. See, you met one of your young adult heroes. I'm distressed over something involving two of my young adult heroes. So we've got, conflicting, hero situations here, but we'll get to all of that as we move along today. I can't wait to talk about it. Just, she talked to LaMichael James. Just so everyone knows right now, we're going to talk about the great LaMichael James here very shortly. But first, let's talk about the Blazers. When we last left you on our last episode of this podcast, we were both wondering what the Blazers were going to do with this home stretch. Now, they lost to Cleveland after we last did the podcast, and they beat Dallas twice over the weekend, went to Denver and lost, which we all expected, I imagine. Came back now home, Philadelphia Thursday night, 6 straight home games, 11 of 14 at home. We're pretty much past the midway point. So, Brenna, I want to know from you, and then, of course, I'll give my answer to this question. Where do you see this team right now, and where is your mid-season prediction for where they're going to be at the end of the regular season? In the playoffs, the play-in, or out?
Okay, first of all, I just want to say that I think that Gary Payton II and Nasir Little have been as advertised. They came back. They gave this team a lot of juice, a lot of energy off the bench, and that has been so huge for this team because they just needed some fresh blood out there to really kind of re-energize them. And I see that right now with this team, with both of those players. It is so nice to look at that injury report and only see one player out and not have 15, it wasn't 15, but sometimes it felt like 15
like 7
guys
or 8
on there.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, like, jeez. So that is really nice to not have to be to just see this team not in their full form, but it's so hard to find a team in their full form in the NBA ever. There's always one guy out who's injured. So, this is pretty good. And they look better. They definitely look better with those two guys fully back. I definitely think right now in my eyes, they're a play-in team. The West has so much parity. So you never know. They might sneak into that 6th spot. But right now, in my eyes, they're a play-in team. I think they're going to be able to pull out enough games to get to that point. And I think I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that was kind of what we expected going into this season. So obviously you want a team to beat expectations, but that's kind of what we saw this team anyways at the beginning of the year. So no skin off my back there. What about you?
Well, I've been giving this team the benefit of the doubt for most of the first half. And I like to see, things play out. I like to see certain things balance out. And I like to sort of compare the team I'm analyzing to other teams that they're competing with and sort of see some of the things that are going on with those teams and how they sort of fit. And I'm going to continue to give this team the benefit of the doubt up until they completely prove me wrong to have done so, because they have played a lot more road games than home games. Their best player was out for 12 or 13 games. They've had a lot of other injuries. They just went a month or so without basically 6, 7, 8 in their rotation, which is Payton, Nasir, and Winslow, with 2 of those 3 now back. Now, at the beginning of the season, had you told me that those 3 would miss the entire season, right, and that your 6, 7, 8 would be Shaedon Sharpe, 19, Jabari, and who else? Eubanks, and then Watford, I'd have been like, yeah, they're cooked. They might not even make the play-in because that's not enough depth. So when teams go out, when they're clearly dealing with some adversity and they lose, I don't freak out as much as some people do. And when you look around the NBA, especially the West, every team has gone through these down, swings. Like look at Phoenix. They lost Booker. They've won one of their last 10. They were the top team in the West not too long ago. Dallas is finally coming out of a funk, but even they're up and down. They just lost 3 in a row. The Warriors won the championship last year. They were struggling even before Curry got hurt. Curry's back. They've won 6 of the last 10, but they're 500. So you look at the West, the Blazers are in 11th place entering the Philly game, but they're only 1 game out of 6, and 6th is Utah, a team they play in a few days during these next 6 games. So if they win 4 of the next 6 at home, they could easily jump literally to 5 or 6, just like that.
Yep.
So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, let them get whole, let the home games and the road games balance back out, okay, and then see if they're due for a 7 of 9, a 10 of 11, or whatever in terms of winning. And then boom, they're right back in the top 4. And then we're like, hey, what's going on? Like, oh, we're going to playoffs. So I'm going to reserve judgment, even though I told you to give judgment. I'm going to cheat.
Oh, you're just kidding.
No, I'm not going to totally cheat. But I'm going to say that I do believe that if they stay healthy the rest of the season, they will finish in the top 6. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. They will finish in the top 6. Like they will legitimately not have to be in the play-in. That's my prediction for them.
I guess we just hope that they stay healthy because that has been a struggle this year so far.
One other thing to point out real quick. How about Damian? Damian had a stretch where he was not playing good basketball at all. Like it was pretty bad. But the last 6 games, I think he has 6 games, shooting 54%, 38 on 3. And it's only 38 because he had one really bad game in the 6th. The rest he's just been lights out. Averaging 39 points, 6.7 assists, 3.5 rebounds per game. He is looking like an MVP caliber player, and they won a few games in the process. What do you make of his outburst lately?
They desperately need it. So, I think I saw Kevin Pelton tweet that he's averaging something like 28.6 points in the first half over the last
his first half has been
games.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
that's crazy. He's averaging what in the first half what most players are averaging. Like that's like what a good player in the NBA averages over an entire game. That's a really good player. It's definitely been needed. He's stepped his game up, but he can't do it alone. No. And that's been proven time and again here in Portland. Yeah. So he really needs
a breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah, he really needs, and there's been moments where Nurk has had good games. There's been moments where Josh Hart has had good games, but he needs a reliable second option. Jeremy's had good games, obviously. I mean, he's one of their, but there's no consistent second option on this team right now. It's kind of a rotating second option every night, which I guess in some ways is nice for teams, for them to prepare for teams, because teams then have to kind of prepare for multiple guys. But at the same point in time, you really need a reliable number 2 that every night is going to, get like 20.
100%.
And that's been another struggle. So
and an efficient 20 too. Yeah, it's got to be an efficient 20. That's been the biggest problem. And Grant can get 20, but are they 5 for 17 or are they 8 for 14? So
yes.
Now Lillard, prior to the 6 games I mentioned, and 7 games prior to that, Lillard shot. Oh my goodness, I just lost it. Oh wait, hold on a second. He's shooting 25% on threes. In the prior 7 games. So that's how much he's improved his 3-point shooting, which obviously is one of the mainstays of his offensive ability. So Dame's back in great form. They got a bunch of games at home. I think they're going to rattle off a bunch of victories. I think they're going to be in that top 6. And if they stay healthy, they're going to stay there. So look at me being positive. Yay. All right, next, let's get right to this one. LaMichael James. So name to the Hall of Fame. You tracked him down and had an interview with him today. It's going to air on KOIN tomorrow. What time?
5:40-ish, and then it'll air at 10:40, and then it'll air at 11:20.
Nice.
So There you go. Yeah.
were a young adult fan of LaMichael James, a longtime fan of the Ducks, so he's obviously one of your Duck heroes. You got a chance to interview him. I covered the LaMichael years, so I've known him for a long time as well. Give us a little sneak peek about this interview.
Yeah, it was really interesting because he said he got a call from somebody in the U of O athletic department. They're like, "Hey, we're going to send you something. What's your address, whatever." And he's like, "Oh, great, I'm getting a pair of shoes. This is awesome. Yeah, let's go. I love getting Nike
He's
swag."
always sending out swag. I've been been in the NFL locker rooms. Like when I was in Atlanta, I went to try and say hello to Kenyon Barner, and I went by his locker room, and he wasn't there, but he had a bunch of boxes with Oregon stuff on it. Like they just send that stuff all over the place. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, what a life. And I do like my sneakers. So, yeah, it's nice. Must be nice. So he got the box and he's like, well, this isn't a pair of shoes. I'm going to go walk the dog. And I'll open this when I get back. So he was let down, let down. And then he went
get another pair of shoes, right?
He wanted another pair of shoes, and he got back, and then he opened it, and then he was like kind of confused at first as to what it was, and then he finally had to have like somebody else read it to him, and then he understood, like, oh, this is for I'm going into the College Football Hall of Fame. So he just was like completely. He had some idea that maybe this was coming, but he didn't know when, he didn't know how, whatever. So, so I thought that was kind of a cool story of how it didn't even register for him. So yeah.
How long did you talk to him for?
Oh, probably like 10, 15 minutes on camera. We'll cut it up and put it into a piece. So yeah.
LaMichael can be kind of quiet at times. Did you get him to talk?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, he had some good things to say. So yeah, it was.
So obviously for you, one of the greatest Ducks of all time. There's no doubt about that. Well, for anybody. But do you consider him the greatest Oregon running back of all time?
Just like looking over the stats, because I was looking over the press release that they sent out before I did the interview about him going into the College Football Hall of Fame. And I mean, God, the only consensus 2-time All-American in program history. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So, and you think of all the people who've come through Oregon. So, I mean, just that alone, I think you have to say yes. He was so dominant back then. I mean, to this day, I mean, there's only 2 teams that have gone to the national championship, and his was one of them. So, and that game was a lot closer than the other national championship game. Michael Dyer was down. That's his name, right? The running back. Don't get me started on that. I've got 2 hills. I've got 2 hills. Through the whistle. There are 2 hills I will die on. That one.
Okay.
And Kennedy Meek's hands was out of bounds during the NCAA championship in 2018, where Gonzaga lost, and they would have turned the ball over and given Gonzaga the ball back, but no, they gave it to North Carolina instead.
Okay, Michael Dyer's wrist was allegedly down. Play through the whistle, finish the play, and then you don't have to worry about it. But I still think they scored the drive anyway, whether he was down or not. It's not like it was 4th down. But anyway, that's another story. That's fair.
Yeah, I think I will say I think I will die more on the Kennedy Meeks hand one than the other one. So yeah, I mean, I think I think it's hard to say no. Now, in terms of pro careers, there's definitely been ones I think who had more sustained pro careers than him. But in terms of what he did at U of O, I think you have to go LaMichael. What about you?
Oh, 100%. When you take the entire package together, I think it's clearly him. I think, for me, the very best running back is still Jonathan Stewart in terms of overall talent and ability. He was a first-round pick. He had a great pro career. Bigger, just as fast. But I think, he only had one healthy season. He didn't come back for a year. That would have been a Heisman candidate year. He went to the pros, which was a smart thing to do. Royce Freeman had more total yards, but it took him 4 seasons to surpass LaMichael and what he did in 3 seasons. When you look at when he did what he did in 2010, first Oregon team to ever go 12-0, first Oregon team to ever go to the national championship game. LaMichael James was the face of that team. The next year, they won the first Rose Bowl in 85 years for Oregon. He was the face of that team. He won 3 straight. He was a lead guy on 3 straight Pac title teams, and so for most people, obviously, LaMarcus. I did this on Talking Ducks too. LaMarcus, Michael James, Mariota, whatever. Anyway, for most people, Marcus Mariota, greatest player in program history. And when a lot of people think of the Blur offense era, they think of him. But for me, LaMichael was the face of that era more so, even though Marcus won the Heisman, because he was at the forefront of that and making that grow and making that offense what it was. And then Mariota came in after LaMichael left. Yep. Mariota only won one Pac-12 title. Obviously, he won the Heisman, went to the national championship game. But for me, the whole impetus for what that offense was about revolved around what LaMichael was able to give you from the running back position. And it's just his toughness at 5'9", 190 pounds. I mean, he played like a guy who was more like 6 foot, 220. He ran between the tackles. Obviously, he could get outside and be quick and fast. But yeah, he was the motor for those teams and for putting the Oregon program to another level that they had never really achieved before. So yeah, greatest running back of all time and probably top 3 player of all time. Top 2? Is it Marcus then LaMichael? Yeah. I mean, I think that's a legitimate argument. So that's cool. You got that interview. I look forward to seeing it. I think we're going to get him on Talking Ducks at some point. He was supposed to come on this week, but he got sick. And plus, he just opened a new Killer Burger in Eugene, which looks awesome. Yes. They got murals and stuff of former greats. So be sure you get out there and check it out. It's definitely a great experience for the Oregon fan.
Yes. Well, speaking of Oregon and Oregon State football, Pac-12 schedules released on Wednesday. Aaron, what do you think of Oregon and Oregon State schedules, how this all kind of shakes out for them?
Well, let's start with Oregon State. Very weak non-conference schedule. They should sweep that. San Jose State, UC Davis. San Diego State's not awful, but I would expect that you would beat them at home, especially with DJ Uiagalelei. Did I get it?
Uiagalelei.
I did it.
You were very close.
Uiagalelei.
Yes.
Is that better? Uiagalelei.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
DJ. Anyway, the Pac-12 is just going to be wild. I think the conference is going to cannibalize itself. I don't think there's any chance in hell that a playoff team is going to come out of the conference. No offense to anyone.
Fair.
But Oregon State has Utah at home, UCLA at home, Washington at home, and of course they go to Oregon. So in terms of their toughest games, most of them are at home. So that gives them a great shot to obviously win maybe 2 of those 3 games, coupled with the soft non-conference schedule. I'm going to say 9-3.
What are your losses in there?
Okay, I kind of go by potential losses before.
Okay.
Because college football to me is just so random, like in so many different, even more so than the NFL. And so I look at a body of teams and say, okay, I think they're going to lose X amount in this group. I can't necessarily say which one because, things just crazy things happen. Like, for instance, I picked Oregon to beat Washington, and then Bo Nix gets injured. I can't predict that. I picked Oregon State to beat Oregon, but that only happened because it's just a fluke collapse by Oregon. I mean, Oregon to me was a good team, but anyway. So anyways, it's things to be random. So for me, potential losses, obviously Oregon, Washington. I think Colorado at Colorado. We got to wait to see though what Colorado's all about. Colorado could be just all, glitz and glamour with prime time there and just need a couple years to get rolling, or they could come out the gate and just be money. But on the road, I think that's a possible loss. UCLA is going to be tough, obviously. Utah. But there's 5 right there that I think are definitely potential losses. There's probably going to be an upset somewhere in there, so that's why I'm going to say 9-3.
Yeah, I think that it's a very it's a very friendly schedule for the Beavers, to say the least. I mean, like you said, all of their tough games, with the exception of Oregon, are at home. That's huge. That Utah game at home on the 29th, originally I wanted to give it to Utah. But now I'm a little bit like, I think Oregon State has the edge here because Utah is playing UCLA the week before. That's going to be a competitive game. As long as, Dante Moore is as advertised, if he gets to start. I know there's another quarterback who transferred in there as well.
Dante, let me just say this. Dante Moore is not going to be ready to start for Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly doesn't mess around when it comes to quarterbacks. All the Dante Moore crying and whining and all that kind of nonsense, Oregon fans, people are not going to miss Dante Moore. I'm just putting it out there.
I hit a nerve there. Okay.
I just don't like crying over kids who haven't played it down yet. It's like, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about Dante Moore. That dude's, if he starts for Chip, I'll be floored. Go ahead. In his freshman year.
I mean, you would understand this more than me. So, but that
watch him win the Heisman. Watch him win the Heisman. I will burn this. I didn't Brenna. I didn't say that. Brenna.
Never said that at all. So that Utah game is in Corvallis on a Friday after Utah comes off of playing UCLA. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Oregon State is playing Washington State the week before. So that is very, very friendly for the Beavers in terms of the fact that, I think that we can confidently say that Utah is projected to have a better season than Wazoo. So that's going to be something to, I think that leans the Beavers' favor. Yeah, I mean, just looking at this schedule, I could see a real situation that they're like, it's very possible that they could be undefeated heading into November. It is very possible looking at this schedule, I think. Now, do they drop a game that they shouldn't drop? That definitely happens in college football. That could totally happen. But this is, I mean, really, your two tests are Utah and UCLA, and those are both at home. So that's very friendly for them. They're going to be opening that brand new stadium next year. It's going to be juiced in there all year long. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna pick him to have 2 losses.
10-2.
Yeah.
Now I imagine this means in your mind that DJ is going to be special.
I think that DJ is going to find a more supportive environment in Corvallis. And that's what he needs. I mean, I think he's going to be able to be around his family a lot more. I think his family means a lot to him. Mm-hmm. Would not be surprised. I think I said this on an earlier broadcast. Would not be surprised if those parents end up, buying a place in Eugene or Corvallis to,
Albany?
see both their sons. Wait, yeah, Albany.
Was Albany before Corvallis or after Corvallis?
Honestly, couldn't tell you. Whenever I'm going down there
on
Saturday.
How many times I made that drive? I'm pretty sure Albany's after, right?
I can understand why it's all a blur to you too, because you just do it so much.
My God, that's
like,
horrible.
oh, we're doing it again.
That's horrible.
So yeah,
keep talking while I look this up. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Go for it. So I mean, they're gonna have a really decent offense, I think, and obviously that defense is projected to do really, really good things. So that is they've got a very if I were the Beavers, I would be very pleased with this schedule that they got. It is very Oregon State friendly, and we all know how the Wazoos and the Oregon States of the world normally don't get friendly schedules in this conference. So that is very nice. Now, meanwhile, for the Ducks, do they have a fun October?
It looks like Albany's after before Eugene.
Albany's.
I made that drive 6 billion times and I couldn't remember, but I got it right the first time. I said Albany. Then anyway, continue. My bad.
Yes,
I digress.
At Washington on October 14th. Wazoo at home, which Wazoo has consistently given them struggles. By the way, Wazoo's also given Oregon State struggles. I mean, gosh, they didn't beat them for like 6 years coming into this season. And then at Utah on October 28th. That's tough right there. So that's going to really be where I think where we find out who this Oregon team is as well, because it's not like their non-conference is that much better than Oregon State's. Let's be honest. I mean, you have that game at Texas Tech. But Texas Tech they don't have the same projections that Oregon does next year. Let's put it that way.
That's going to be the Tyler Shuck Revenge Bowl, though.
Yes, it is. It is. It's going to be fascinating. I'm excited for that game. But, I mean, I think that they should be 5-0 going into the month of October. So, yeah, that October stretch is I'm fascinated by it already. What about you?
So what's your call?
What's my call? I'm let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going 9-3 on them.
So you got
I
the
think
Beavers finishing ahead of the Ducks. That means you
I do.
have the Beavers beating the Ducks.
I actually have Oregon beating Oregon State.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I'm with you on 9-3.
Yep.
You take out Georgia, you bring in Texas Tech. Clearly, that gives you a better chance to win that big non-conference matchup. But it is on the road. And unless Dan Lanning and company can fix the defense, which has been a problem the past 2 seasons, Tyler Shuck's going to put up some points and put up some numbers. So it could be a shootout. It could be a close game. But I'm going to go with Oregon in that game and say they come out of that 3-0. Colorado, we're still wondering to see what Colorado's going to be, but I'm going to lean on the side of Oregon. Stanford, I just can't buy anything about Stanford right now. That puts them at 5-0, so we agree there. Then you've got Washington, to me, is losable. Obviously, Utah's losable. Those are both going to be on the road, whereas this past season they were home. And then you add USC in place of UCLA. USC's at home, but still I'd rather play UCLA at UCLA than USC at home, especially if USC adds some players to help that defense, because the offense we know is going to be money. And then, of course, Oregon State's going to be Oregon State. So I just feel like unless the defense is elevated, and then, of course, you have a lot of bodies to replace on the offensive line as well. But unless the defense goes from the 70s to the 30s or 20s, I just see 3 losses, because you're just going to be in close games because your defense is going to be susceptible. And the more close games you're in, the more likely it is you're going to drop a couple. These are college kids. Things happen. You drop punt, snaps, you blow coverages. Someone gets injured. Boom, you're losing football games. So I'm going with 9-3 right now until I see an not elite level defense, but a top tier defense, a notch below elite.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying that USC defense, even with better people there.
So bad.
Grinch.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Grinch has not had a sterling track record since he left Wazoo. Let's put it that way. His best days so far in terms of defense were at Washington State. That's a fact. I feel like their defensive coordinator, in case you don't know who that is. Which, by the way, my thought on that USC game was, what do you think the point total over under is going to be on that game?
On Oregon and Washington State? Wait.
No.
On who?
Oregon and
USC? I'd have it at 78, 82, somewhere in there.
That's what I was thinking. I was like 80.5. Like, it's going to be, that game is going to be bonkers in terms of scoring. It might be one of those games, whoever has the ball last is who wins. Like, that might be what that game is. So yeah, I think they probably drop either or of the USC or Oregon State games. So right now I'm picking Oregon over Oregon State, because I think that I think how they lost this year is going to really stick in their craw for a while. Sorry. But yeah, I think it's not fun on a podcast when you agree about 9-3, but I also care about being right. So yeah,
exactly. There's nothing wrong with agreeing. There's nothing wrong with that. It means we're both on the same track, and we're going to have double the chances of being right.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to a former Oregon Duck, the beloved Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers, who made his first playoff appearance over the weekend at Jacksonville against another young superstar quarterback in the making, not superstar yet, potential superstar, I should say, in Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half. The Chargers led 27-0 and somehow managed to lose 30-27. Herbert has taken some heat for this. Maybe justifiable, maybe not. We're going to talk about that. Clearly, it was a team loss. You blow a 27-point lead unless Herbert threw 4 or 5 interceptions himself. You can't really blame it on him, which he did not. He did not throw 1 interception. But, Brenna, what do you make 1 of the collapse, 2 of Herbert's role in the collapse, and 3 of the general dysfunction of this franchise? They're going to change offensive coordinators. There was rumors they were going to maybe fire the coach and bring in Herbert's 3rd head coach, and it would have been 3rd head coach in 4 years. Chances are, if they don't succeed next year, that guy's going to get fired. They're going to bring in another coach in his 5th year. He's got a contract decision coming up here soon in terms of signing an extension. What do we make of this madness? Is it just Justin's just still young? Let's just let him grow, which is what I think, and let the franchise grow? Or is this collapse an indictment on everything that's going on down there?
I was kind of shocked that Staley didn't get fired in Jacksonville. I mean, that's an all-time playoff loss. All time. Do I think it's the heat is definitely way more on that coaching staff and, to be frank, that defense for letting the foot off the pedal. But yeah, I mean, blame goes all around. I mean, they shouldn't have scored 3 points after going up 27-0. Like that's not great either. But I definitely think the majority of the blame goes on that coaching staff. Now, I think the big reason why Staley isn't gone is because they don't want to have to pay that contract out to him, and then have to pay another coach on top of it.
Right.
What's happening here? An NFL franchise being economically savvy? What's going on? What are we talking about here? But yeah, I mean, I would be pretty. I hope they turn it around down there, but it seems like there's. Yeah, I mean, Staley made some questionable decisions too, playing Mike Williams in the last game of the season when it didn't matter. And then guess what? He's hurt. Their best receiver out. And I definitely think that would help Herbert. So, there's been a lot of questionable decisions made down there. It hasn't exactly been the most functional franchises. We'll see what Herbert does. I feel like he enjoys being down there, and I think he came out in support of his head coach, if I'm remembering correctly, and said some words of support for him. But
Herbert's never going to say anything controversial. Well, I shouldn't say never, but he would not throw his coach under the bus. He's not that kind.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. He's very PC. He's not going to come out like J.K. Dobbins and say, "Hey, why wasn't I running the ball?" and then get his offensive coordinator fired later. I mean, that's a power move right there. I respect it. But yeah, I in terms of the future for Justin, I mean, I think you have to look outside. I think you have to do your due diligence. But it's definitely a toss up for me right now. So he seems like he's a really loyal guy. That's the thing. He strikes me as that kind of person.
Yeah.
And he wants to be loyal. He wants to be loyal to the franchise who drafted him, and gave him his first opportunity. So,
yeah, I think we're a long ways away from him, throwing the franchise under the bus. It's only his third year. I think if he gets to year 6 or 7 and there's still dysfunction, I think that's when you start thinking about making some kind of career move or push. Maybe if he signs an extension, he makes it short and gives himself an early opt-out if he really feels like there's problems there. But we're so young into his career. I mean, he could easily play till he's 40 years old. Like, he could easily have a 17-year career. We're only after year 3. As far as the game goes, it's one of those situations where he didn't play poorly. He didn't do anything to hurt his team. He didn't have a lot of turnovers. He didn't have any turnovers. But greatness is, defined by moments when you elevate your team, especially at that position. Every great quarterback, you can point to moments in big games where they did things that were special. He didn't do anything in this game that was special. That doesn't mean he is less than or not going to be a great quarterback. He's a great talent. He's not a great quarterback yet. Great quarterbacks don't throw as many interceptions as he does. Great quarterbacks can lift their teams to a victory in that situation. He's not there yet, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can't just throw the word great around to everybody. Everybody can't be a great quarterback, or now great becomes average. Talent-wise, like I said, he's off the charts, and I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to have some great moments. I'll be shocked if he isn't a league MVP someday. I'll be shocked if he doesn't win the Super Bowl. But they have to give him some consistency. Like, just pick a coach, maybe it's Staley, and just stick with it and just make adjustments as you go. Firing and changing coach and blaming this person. It's just, do we want Justin Herbert in year 10 to have had 8 different playbooks? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, keep things consistent for the kid. Let him grow. Keep his wide receivers healthy. He had a lot of injuries at wide receiver this year. And like you just said, Mike Williams wasn't available in the playoff game. So if you get him some healthy receivers, I'm not blaming the receivers. Things happen. But I think he's going to be just fine. I didn't like the fact that people were blaming him after the game. I thought that was kind of juvenile, but that's Twitter, right? So anyway, he's in a good place. And look, if I have a choice, here's the other thing. He's in LA. Like, where else would you rather be if you're going to be a star quarterback with matinee idol looks like he has than Los Angeles? Plus, how do you know if you leave, you're not going to go to another dysfunctional situation? The only place where I would consider leaving if I were him, if it was available, would be Belichick in New England, because at least now you know you have a coach who's not going to be touched, who's obviously done great things with other quarterbacks, won 6 Super Bowls with one of them. But anywhere else, almost anywhere else you go, except maybe Pittsburgh, Tomlin's pretty untouchable, you could run into a situation where it could be just as dysfunctional, and then that franchise will turn over coaches. So I think he should stay right where he is and just let things figure themselves out over the next few years. Did I lose you?
No, I
can't see you.
I'm just thinking about what's next.
No, I mean I can't see you.
And that.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I can't see you anymore. That's what I meant. Not that I lose you with what I said. I meant I lose you with the video.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh. Anyway, we'll put up I'll draw you and we'll put that up.
I'm thinking about what's next for us in this podcast, and that is the Aaron Fentress therapy session. That's where my mind is right now. Are you ready, Aaron?
Did you take any psychology classes? Did you take any psychology classes in college?
I took one. 101, baby.
You took one.
Yeah.
That might be enough because I'm going to need some definite help here.
All right.
Okay.
Aaron, you have the floor for our pop culture segment.
So it appears that after months of rumors and denials, that my 2 all-time basketball heroes, next to Magic Johnson — Magic's my favorite player, but number 2 and 3 are Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. It appears that Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen, is dating Michael Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan. On one hand, the heart wants what the heart wants. Who am I to worry about this? But I just feel like it's causing some distress in the Bulls sphere. And it's just, I was a junior high school kid when Jordan came to my favorite college team, North Carolina. So I've been a Jordan fan all through junior high school, my adult life. When they drafted Pippen, I was still in college. So obviously I became attached to Pippen, watched those guys win 6 titles together. And I just romanticized my sports heroes from when I was younger. Like, I want them to be BFFs. And whenever I hear about any controversy or whatever, it just drives me nuts. Now, I'm not saying there's necessarily a controversy here, because we haven't heard anything from Jordan. We haven't really heard anything from Pippen. But it's still just kind of disheartening that this is happening, because it just feels weird. And it just bothers me. So I'm asking you, Dr. Greene,
wow.
Am I overreacting? Am I overreacting?
First and last time I'll ever be referred to as that. I'll take it.
In this case, you're qualified as a doctor to help me through this ridiculous thing. So, I mean, am I overreacting?
No, it's super weird.
So I have with me my Michael Jordan starting lineup, Scottie Pippen starting lineup. And I just want there to be harmony. And Pippen was saying some crazy things about Jordan because of the Last Dance thing. That was out of control too. And he even tried to say LeBron was better than Michael. Which, and then now this, it's just, I just don't need this in my life.
No, it's extremely weird.
Weirder than me having these.
No, that, you know what? we all have our childhood obsessions. I understand that.
This Jordan's worth bank, by the way.
Yeah. People who are listening are like, wait, what's going on?
I have starting lineup figurines of Jordan and Pippen.
There we go.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, it's weird. I don't know what the age difference is, but there's got to be a gap going on there. Which, like you said, the heart was what it wants, but this is...
She's 48.
Yes.
I think Marcus is 32.
Okay.
32.
Oh, gosh. So that's basically someone my age dating a 48-year-old. I couldn't process that personally, but, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you for having some reservations about this situation. Or reservations might not be the right word. Some anxiety about this situation. It is... I feel weird about it. And I'm not a Bulls fan. So I think you are totally justified, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
And I like how Michael hasn't said anything, because what's he going to say? And then Scotty hasn't said anything.
There's nothing for him to say.
They're both taking the high road, which I appreciate.
We'll see how long that lasts.
But yeah, it's just bothering me. Okay.
Is Larsa still on that Real Housewives show? Or is she off the Real Housewives of Miami? Because she was on that show.
No.
Because if she is still on it, oh man, I might have to tune in next season. Like
she started in OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's still on that show or not, but if she is, that's
Oh, that's a must watch. That's a must watch. Right?
Yeah, it is. Let me see here. Lost of Hope and Real Housewives. Let's see here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna be on the next season, but if she is,
yeah, she is on this season.
She's going to be.
She is on the current season that's airing right now. It says Real Housewives of Miami
we have
recap.
to watch.
Larsa is uninvited to Nicole's party over rumor. So
this is going to be a new segment, the Larsa Pippen update.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll dive more into that and see if there's going to be some juicy tidbits to come out of that. Oh my God!
Shout out to Bravo cameras.
Yeah. No.
Hopefully they got some of this for us. Pay her what she wants for this next season. We have to see this unfold.
Exactly. And we need Marcus to show up. We need Scotty and Marcus to show up in the same spot.
Oh yeah. That's some high grade television right there. Okay.
I would actually watch that. All right. So you have your own. You have your own thing here, your own pop culture.
And other celebrity relationship stuff. Miley Cyrus came out with a song last week. It's called Flowers. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I was jamming out to that song last week.
I just listened to it.
Love it.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty
It's a bop. It's a bop. That's all I got to say. However, you can kind of tell that it's about her ex, Liam Hemsworth. But then I read a whole story about all the different things in there that obviously point to him. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I personally would never dispel my tea into my art, probably, but boy, do I love it when other people do it. And this is some great stuff. First of all, okay, she came out with a song on January 13th. January 13th is Liam Hemsworth's birthday. Amazing work, just right off the top. We are pointing right to it. And by the way,
that wasn't an accident. That wasn't an accident.
I don't think so.
No, I mean, it's not. I'll say it for you. No way, that's an accident. No way, that's an accident. No way.
Also, when she tweeted out what time it was getting released around the world, she included Australia in there. Everything else was like, let me see. Let me look at this tweet. Yeah, it was Sydney, London, NYC, LA. Those were the 4 places she included. And I was like, I remember thinking to myself, how weird you're including. Yes, he's from Australia. Thank you for filling in that gap for people.
I had to look that up. I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. So she says in there, build a home and watch it burn. Their home burned down in the Malibu fires.
Ooh.
So there's another reference. But here's where we get like crazy, okay? When they got married, Bruno Mars sang at the wedding. So one of his songs is let's see here. I forget the name of the song, okay? When I Was Your Man is the song. I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have gave you all my hours when I had the chance. Take you to every party because all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man. Lyrics in the chorus of this song.
Oh.
I can buy myself flowers, write my name in sand, talk to myself for hours, say things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing. I can hold my own hand. Yeah, I can love me better than you can.
Damn.
That's like, whoa! Like, definitely an inference to that song. So I just got to give it up to my girl Miley. You know, just straight up going at him. You know, like I said, not something I would choose to do, but I could appreciate a good subtle diss track, and that is exactly what this is. So
what,
she's like
did
been
she
with
wrong
him
her?
for a year.
Did he wrong her?
What?
Did he wrong her in the relationship?
Nobody really knows what exactly happened to them breaking up.
Mm-hmm.
That's never really been like, it just kind of was like done, which was super weird because they'd gotten married like, I think it was like less than a year before. They got married and then it was like, oh, we're really done this time. And they'd broken up before and gotten back together, you know, whatever. But
didn't he have problems with her shift in career and how she was presenting herself?
I think he had issues with that, and that's when they broke up first.
Right.
And then they got back together a few years after.
When she went
kind of
back to being less controversial.
When she took it down. Yeah, when she took it down a notch. Ironically,
right.
That was, she came out with a song called Malibu during that time period when they got back together, and then their house in Malibu burnt down. But anyways, yeah, I was just reading this story about all the similarities, and I was like, so, you know, Miley doing her best Taylor Swift, and I cannot say I hate it. So.
I'm not anti-Miley. She's had some good songs. Party in the USA is a jam, straight up.
Yes.
I like that song. And Wrecking Ball? That's another one, right?
Yeah, that's not my favorite one.
Ball, is it?
But that one is also about
It's called Wrecking Ball, right?
Yes.
And then It's Our Party, We Can Do What We Want. What's that one called?
Yep.
Is that what it's called? It's Our Party? Yeah. So I know those three. I don't think
it's called that. I'm totally blanking on what it's called. I have a very
vivid
that song came out while I was in college, and I have a very vivid college memory of.
We can't stop. We can't stop.
We have a very vivid college memory of a few of my housemates at that time deciding to throw a party, and those lyrics may have been used, and there may have been some housemates who were not in support of having this party.
Yeah, I would think so. That's the kind of party that can get the cops called to the old college home.
Yeah, there was some people who were opposed. I may have conveniently used my internship at a TV station to just not go home that night. It's like I'm just gonna stay squarely out of this. Actually did. I drove by my house that night, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. And I called one of my friends, and I was like, can I just come stay at your house? I don't want to have anything to do with this. I'm just staying out.
You didn't want anything to do with the debauchery that was probably going on?
Yeah, you know, I just you know, I knew there were some differing opinions about this situation that was unfolding, and I decided I'm just going to remove myself entirely. So I'm going to remove myself from this narrative. Thank you. So yeah, anyways, yeah, there's a lot of Miley songs that correlate to, you know, different things in my life. I think Party in the USA, I think high school. I remember, you know, cranking that, driving into the Jesuit parking lot at 7 a.m. Like, okay, here we go. We're going to have a good day at school today. So there, yeah, but yeah, so I respect her for, I don't know if respect is the right word. I appreciate her just going straight in. So.
All right. Wow. We covered a lot of ground. Good work.
Yes. Yeah.
Am I going to see you at the 76ers game or Laker game? You going to make an appearance?
I don't know. I don't think so, though. We'll see. What days are those? I always
Tonight,
forget.
76ers, and Sunday is Lakers.
Yeah.
LeBron.
No, I don't think I'll be at either of those, unfortunately.
Okay, then probably the next time I'll see you will be right here on the next episode of Sports by Northwest at some point next week. And I mean, let's see what's going on. What else is going on in sports world? Oh, we got to talk some hoops next week, probably. Let's check in on the Oregon hoops. Oregon hoops beat Arizona. They just beat Cal. We'll check in on them and see if Dana Altman's turning that thing around. And of course, we have the playoffs. Oh, that's right. Playoff picks, real quick. Playoff picks for this weekend. Who you got?
Gosh, I need to look up. I need to look up all this stuff right now because, to be completely honest,
we got Chiefs, Jaguars.
Yeah, okay, that's definitely Chiefs. Sorry to all my friends who I actually like. One of my best friends is a huge Jags fan and is going to the game. But sorry, man.
Giants, Eagles.
I'll go Eagles.
Bengals, Bills.
Yeah, Bengals, Bills. That's
Do we agree?
That's a difficult one for me. I think we'll go Bengals.
Really?
We'll
Okay, I'm Bills on that one. I'm Bills on that one.
Okay.
Dallas, 49ers.
Okay. Yeah,
Dallas,
that's 49ers all the way.
I'm going Dallas. I think
It's
the Purdy thing ends. The Purdy nonsense ends. Dallas gets it done.
The Purdy party ends.
The Purdy party ends. All right, so we disagree on two. We disagree on the Sunday games. We agree on the Saturday games.
We'll see how we do.
All right. That's it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Give us a 5-star rating. We'd appreciate it. And we will catch you next week on the Sports by Northwest podcast, brought to you by the Oregonian and Oregon Live.